today we have with us Chahat Arora. Hi, Chahat.
Hi, I'm Chahat Arora, and I'm an international swimmer. And I belong to Chandigarh, and I represent Punjab. So I specialize in breaststroke events, that is like sprint, 50, and 100 breaststroke, and I hold national record for both the events.
Great, great. So you mentioned that you represent Punjab. So I feel like
Yeah.
Punjab has a very minimal kind of swimming culture. To be specific, I know we have like a lot of sports person coming from Punjab and Haryana, but in terms of swimming, I feel Punjab is a bit lacking. And unlike Karnataka or Maharashtra, which is considered as the hotspots of swimming in India, so, what are the advantages and disadvantages coming from Punjab in terms of swimming and your swimming journey?
So basically, the reason that Punjab doesn't have, like Punjab or Chandigarh doesn't have a lot of swimmers coming up is the weather conditions over here. Like we have 6 months, it's very cold and you can't train, and we don't have the facilities to train. We don't have indoor pools to train. Even if we do, they are not well maintained. The temperature is not maintained. We don't have coaches. So I think that's the reason that we don't have good amount of swimmers coming out. And Karnataka and Maharashtra, you see the climate conditions are always, great for swimming there. There's no like off season over there because there's no cold climate over there. So that's one of the most disadvantage that I face. Like when I was young, I didn't have like for 6 months I didn't have a pool to train, and I used to just do other sports, other fitness activities, and for 6 months only I used to swim. So I think that was one of the reasons that we don't have a lot of swimmers coming up, and that's the reason that if we don't have swimmers, the government doesn't support the sports swimming because they don't see any reason for supporting swimming because they don't see results. So I'm the only person to ever medal at nationals or even like play international and getting a gold medal at international. It's a very big thing for me if I'm coming from a state like Punjab, or I used to represent Chandigarh before. So it's kind of a big deal for me.
So you mentioned a lot of like disadvantages, but like I feel like there's some advantages. Like you have lot less competition, if I'm not wrong. So any kind of advantages that you feel?
But not having a competition is kind of a disadvantage because you don't have motivation to, better yourself. So the only competition I used to face was when I used to go for nationals, or when the only way I could like know that I'm doing well was when I used to compete at nationals. And I don't have a good any great training partner with me who can really motivate me to do better every day. So I used to be my own competitor. So that's kind of a disadvantage in itself. But yeah, if I'm like the only person in the whole state to ever achieve this kind of level, it is a big thing. You become an idol. Everybody knows you. Yeah, this is Chahat Arora, and she has done wonders in swimming. It's like coming from a state like Punjab, where people are mostly into drugs and all those kind of things. So it is in itself in a like advantage, but I think there's more cons than pros. Yeah.
Okay, no issue. So what is the biggest fear like you have or possess till date or in the sport of swimming?
I think I don't really have fears in swimming. But yeah, after like swimming for such a long time, the fear that now I feel is like that, after putting so much effort, and you don't see yourself at big meets, and just because like swimming is not an Indian sport. Like in India, people
Yeah.
don't even the media doesn't support swimmers. They're always focused on cricketers or shooters or all these kind of sports, but not swimming.
Obvious sports.
So we don't have much support from any institution, be it government, be it media. So that's one of the fear that after like giving so much into the sport that you're not able to see yourself as the other athletes can see themselves. That's one of the fear that when I leave swimming, then uh, you know after putting so much effort, what did I get?
So, like, have you ever faced like a fear, when you are standing at the block? Uh, I feel like, there's moments when you are, you are not the dominant swimmer in the breaststroke from day one. So there must be some point at which, you had to compete some, a dominant swimmer at that point of time. So, have you ever felt that fear of having a stronger competitor in your event at any point in your swimming journey?
Um, Yes, I think everybody does, because at the end of the day, you are competing with others and you're competing for the gold medal. Silver and bronze, like, okay, silver and bronze are medal, but everybody has the eyes on the gold medalist.
Yeah.
So, of course, you do feel that fear when you're going for any meet that you know that these swimmers will be coming and you'll be competing with them and you have to reclaim your title. But just like I told you that I have always like trained alone and I know how to compete with myself. So I've always like focused on competing with myself and being better every day. So every national that I used to go, my main goal wasn't of winning medals. It was like beating my own time and like improving. So when I'm on the blocks, I don't have that fear. I just want to do my best, and I just want to enjoy the race, and uh, I just don't want to go back home with regrets that I did this mistake or I did my start was bad or this. So I just come and I just like enjoy my race. That's what I come for.
So you have particularly had a dominance over the breaststroke events in at the Indian national arena. So like what does it take to hold or maintain that dominance in those two events for like over the past couple of years?
So like when I started swimming, breaststroke was the first stroke that I learned, and I didn't learn any other strokes. So, like since 2012 and 13, I'm winning medals at national level, and I think since then I haven't like looked back, or I've always been better, and I've always like been consistent. So yeah, it takes a lot of mental strength, that you have to be better every year, and you have to reclaim that title every year. It is quite difficult because last year gold medalist has most stress on themselves because they have to reclaim. They can't go back. They
Yeah.
can't go to silver or bronze. They have to get a gold medal. It is quite
Yeah.
stressful, but with years you just learn how to just hold your nerves and how to be calm. That's one thing you should know, and you should be putting efforts every day. You should feel that you are doing something new. You should have a variation in your training, and that's what I do. I'm not like I don't really like going and training in other states, like people go to Karnataka or to Maharashtra to train. I would prefer like training here locally in Chandigarh or in Punjab, but with a lot of variation.
So you have participated in a lot of international meets, and I feel like there's always this fear that when you are going for a first meet, like during my first national, I was kind of having that nerve-wracking moment of participating or swimming at the national. So have you ever faced this kind of a moment in your swimming journey? And if you were to swimming at like a different level, like for maybe example the Olympics or maybe the Commonwealth or the Asian Games. So do you feel that you will have that kind of a moment, and would you be able to manage that kind of pressure and swim your best at that particular meet or event?
So for me, it doesn't really matter what meet I'm going to, because if I have trained well, I know I have trained well and I'll do well. But even if it's a small meet, even if it's a local state meet and I haven't trained well, I'll feel those nerves. I'll be stressful because I know I haven't trained well. But even if I'm going for any like big meets and I know I have trained well, then I'll be like really confident and I'll swim with confidence. And for me, it's the opposite. If I'm going for a big meet, I really take pressure well, and that pressure really helps me to do my best. So for the bigger meets, I've always done great, and I think I always do well at nationals than I do at state, because I know I have that pressure that I want to win. I have to win, and I think that's a really good thing about me. that I can take pressure really well, even if even if I have like not trained, and I know that I won't be doing great. I already know it. It's like it's in me. I know that I'm not gonna do great, so I don't really take pressure for it.
Always
That's
do
one
it
thing.
on my own, so I gotta get through it. And the only thing I know is to love what I'm doing. Never give up, never slow, till I finally prove it. Never listen to the no's, I just wanna keep moving. Keep my head up when I act, head up, that's a
But
fact.
I have like
Never
seen a
looking
lot
back.
of swimmers, like especially Olympians, they say like Olympics is a lot to take in, and games like Olympics or Asian Games, they are a lot to take in, and so they sometimes fail to handle that pressure and kind of mess up with the event. So what's your advice to swimmers, making it to their first international meet or maybe national meet?
So for me, it's like when I'm on the blocks, I don't really think what meet it is. I just have to give my best, even if it's a state meet, or if it's a training. If I'm when I'm on the blocks, it doesn't really matter for me what it is. It's if it's 100 breaststroke, I just know it's 2 laps, and I have to like I really focus on my technique, and I really focus on things that I should be focusing at that time. Instead of focusing on, okay, I'm at Olympics, and everybody's watching me, and there's all the cameras that are pointing towards me. I think most of the swimmers get tense because of that when they see the cameras and all the new equipments around them. So that's one thing that I always like try not to see. um I always just focus on my race, my technique. Like if it's like too much for me, I just focus on my stroke count. I count my strokes so that I'm not focusing on any other thing. I'm not focusing on my competitors. I'm focusing on me. Like when I see swimmers going to the Olympics, they're swimming with like one of the like they're the swimming with the fastest swimmers around the whole globe. So I think that's one thing they see that, oh, I'm swimming with someone really fast. And they just forget that they have to swim their own race. So I think that's what they should not be focusing on. They should be focusing on their own swim instead of focusing on other aspects.
So, what are your some of your goals moving ahead with your swimming journey? Any plans or particular competitions that you are focusing ahead?
So I never train for the competitions. I just keep training and training. And okay, when I know that after 2 months I have a competition coming up, then I like start focusing on that competition. But for now, it's just for me the goal is to like break my own national record and break my own times. So right now that is one thing I'm focusing on, and the other thing that I'm focusing on is Asian Games that is supposed to happen next year, and there's a lot of meet coming up like Asian Indoor Games, short course uh, championship. So yeah, but
So,
because of Corona,
are
you
you?
don't know you will go.
Yeah, yeah.
Sorry, I said because of Corona, you don't know you'll be going to the meets or what. So I'm just training right now.
No, but I guess with the Olympics happening even in the amidst the pandemic, I guess everything's going to be fine ahead with the competitions. I feel like it should be fine by now.
Yeah.
Like my next question, like, do you have any plans for Paris 2024 or any kind of thoughts, even a blink of it?
Of course. It's like seeing now that Indian swimmers like Sajan and Srihari did A cut. It was a big thing for Indian swimming, and they have motivated everyone, everyone to take up swimming because now India is improving in swimming, and these two guys have done like wonders. They have created history for India. So I think they have really motivated many swimmers to train for the next Olympics. And I think, yeah, I'll be trying my luck for 2024. Let's see how it goes.
Yeah. So, any thoughts or advice that you want to share before we sign off today?
Um, I don't
Or any
know
kind of
actually. I
advice?
just I just want to say that in India, we like athletes feel that we're not really motivated by our own coaches, and the mentality of coaches here are, it's like that they just want to train their own swimmers. Like when we go for you know all the camps or any like for any meet, and we have coaches over there, they just focus on their own swimmers, and they don't really care who you are, even if you're in Team India. So this mentality needs to be changed. If you're a coach for Team India, you should be training the whole team. It's not that you just focus on your swimmers. So that's one reason that we don't have really great swimmers coming up, because coaches, the mentality is really really bad in India. Like in Olympics, we see that most of the athletes who have won medals, they have foreign coaches. It is like, I think it really matters what kind of coach you have, because every day they are going to push you and they are going to motivate you. If you don't have the motivation, then I don't think you can do anything. Motivation is the biggest key. So I think in swimming also we should have foreign coaches who are not judgmental and who are biased, like who are not biased. So I think Indian coaches are very biased when it comes to training. They just want to train their own swimmers. They don't think the bigger, they don't think out of the box. So
Yeah,
yeah, that thing really needs to be changed. So that's one of my suggestions to the federation, that you should get some good coaches in India, because I think we have a lot of politics going on here in swimming.
yeah,
I think
definitely. Okay.
every swimmer would agree with this, who have gone through this, like who have been through this, that we feel very demotivated when we go to big meets and we see the coaches just like training their own swimmers. So I think that really needs to change. It's high time. We've been seeing that in every sport we have foreign coaches, and I think swimming also needs one.
Definitely, definitely. Okay, thanks a lot for coming up and sharing your journey and so many insights into like what it takes to be such a like a dominant swimmer in your events, and coming from Punjab where swimming is not very, you know, decorated sports in terms of facilities or support given from the government. And it was great having you on board.
Thank you for having me. It was really
Okay.
nice talking to you.
Yeah, and all the best for your future endeavors and the Olympics that you're looking forward, and the Asian Games as